Okay. Hi, kids. I just found out that you can't flip the cameras while it's recording, so you'll see a couple of sudden changes. But I want to show you a few things in my garden that might be relevant to your gardens. First of all, random carrot. This one was planted right around the time that you planted yours. And these are my second round of peas, the ones that I planted when you planted yours. So far, I don't think I'm seeing anything being produced in there yet. I don't think they have any peas yet. By the way, you can also see some random tomato volunteers. Those are just from last year's tomatoes. Those were not planted this year. These are some tomatoes that were planted when you planted yours. These were from that same batch. And you might notice that this dirt looks a little bit played out. It's kind of crusty and dry on top. That's because this area was my bok choy garden. So I harvested all of the bok choy out of there and just left these tomatoes. That's a thing I'd like to recommend, that when you pick up your next round of tomatoes, you place them where you have something else growing, knowing that when you remove that other stuff, the tomatoes might be rooted enough to take off. You can see that this tomato here is a pretty good sized plant. It went into the ground, same size as yours, kind of like this one, little itty bitty. And this one started to grow. Looks a little better. This one started to grow. These are just barely starting to grow. One of the ones from your batch really hasn't grown at all. Now, here I have lettuce from the first batch of lettuce, and I'm ready to start harvesting here. I'm gonna remove, if I can, my tomato cage. For the purpose of this video. Oh no, I need your help, baby. Okay. So this is my daughter. She's gonna help by holding the video camera while I show you how to harvest your lettuce. It might also be a good time to show you how to harvest kale. I have a bowl of water with some ice cubes in it for maximum benefit, and I have some kitchen shears. Again, the water's optional, but it does help. The shears are optional, but they do help. All right, Ona, can you please take this? And Ona, keep it trained on this area, please. Yeah? Mm-hmm. Thank you. Okay, kids. So first of all, you'll notice, like I was telling you earlier, there's some mixed in tomatoes. Some of these tomatoes I can't even see. I hope that they're still making it. But here's one growing up through the lettuce. Here's another growing up through the lettuce. And then of course, oh, here's another one growing up through the lettuce. And then, you know, the lettuce is pretty nice and thick. Now, lettuce grows in a rosette with leaves that are on the bottom close to the dirt, leaves that are growing from the middle, and then the little baby leaves on the inside. Ona, could you zoom in on this one, please? Okay, so there you can see the babiest leaves. We want to save those. You can see some medium leaves. These are all good enough to eat. And then on the outside, you can see some older, drier leaves. We're going to leave those alone. We're not going to eat those. You could harvest this without scissors. You just pinch them off and throw them in the water. Normally that works fine. If you have kind of a crummy leaf, you can trim it later. This one I am pruning without using my scissors. Toby, that's super distracting, baby. Please stop. Okay, so check it out. I've left those older, crummier leaves on the outside, they work as like a protective shield. They keep the bugs from getting in, and they keep water splatter from getting the leaves dirty. So I always leave those on the outside, and I leave these little babies on the inside. They're delicious, but you don't want to eat them yet, because in 3 or 4 days, that'll be the next round of medium-sized leaves. I'm gonna do some quick weeding here. I got a bunch of grass in the way. Okay, then here on this next plant, again, you have to find the center, and you have to protect that center. So I'm going to leave those alone, and then, in this case, I will use my shears. I'm going to take a few of the medium-sized leaves, trying not to mess up my tomato. I notice a lot of you, when I look at your Instagram gardens, I notice that a lot of you leave a lot of space between your plants. And if you look at my garden, you'll notice it gets pretty crowded sometimes. I kind of feel like that's a more efficient use of space, and most of the plants don't care. It's not like you're trying to grow it into a giant exemplar of the variety. You're actually just growing it long enough to kill it and have something else replace it. So look, I've got my wimpy tomato that now has access to more sunlight. I've left the outside and the center, the outside and the center. I move on to my next variety. Those are so good in salad. This is one of my favorite salad lettuces. So I'm going to leave those little babies. This one I'll probably do by hand. And you really do have to pick like individual leaves. If I made you watch my entire harvest, I'm like not even halfway through. I'm going to leave that outside leaf, leave those outside leaves. Oh, now you feel like you could do this? This will probably become your chore. Yeah. And I don't know, I think I might, this one's pretty clean. It's got a lot of cover from other things. I'm going to take this one too. All right, leaving the center for those to grow, leaving the center for those to grow. This one doesn't have too much to offer us. But by leaving these plants to keep growing, I could come back day after tomorrow and make another salad. These gardens, if we grow our lettuce this way, you know, if you have like 6 or 8 lettuce plants, we'll make like a house-size salad every other day. I've got 4 people in my house. If all 4 of us are really into a salad, like really, really into it, we might eat as much as you're watching me harvest. Protecting my tomato. You know, in a couple of months, these lettuces will be too old. Probably in a month, they'll start to flower, and when they flower, they get really bitter. Nobody wants to eat bitter lettuce. So when these are starting to flower, then I'll remove them entirely, and by then the tomatoes will be big enough that they really need all this water for themselves. Well, I probably won't keep going. I've got a couple of other heads of lettuce over here. This one's super crunchy. I'm not gonna harvest that now because I'm saving that for hamburger night. That's a romaine lettuce. I'm gonna save that one for hamburger time. And I don't know, this might be enough. Now, thank you, Ona, you're doing great. Now, this is a big whoop. You definitely want to soak your lettuce in water right away. If you were picking these at the high school, I would say don't get it wet. Because if you're picking these at the high school and you get them wet, then they're going to be all slimy in a bag for the rest of the day in your backpack. That would be gross. So some of you that were in my class last year, you know I told you not to wash the lettuce. But here, I'm not so much worried about washing the lettuce. What I really want to do is keep it hydrated. And the ice somehow helps. By leaving it in water with a couple of ice cubes, I'll do this for like 20 minutes or so. And then I'll dump that out into a salad spinner, spin that, chop it up or tear it up. That's a heck of a salad. Like really, this will be all crunchy and firm because it's been sitting in water. The first ones that I picked already start to feel more firm than they did when I picked them. These are like picking up water from being in there. Okay. I hope you noticed that I leave the center, leave the edges for protection. I hope you noticed that I intersperse my next crop in my current crop. And I don't think your kale is this big yet, but maybe my daughter could point. Oh no, will you point at those? We had a friend over, they like kale, so my wife ripped off a bunch of leaves to give a friend, or my daughter ripped off a bunch of leaves to give a friend. My wife used those for cooking the other day. Here's another kale plant. And this is a place where I really like the scissors. I'm not a big fan of tearing the kale. With kale, you know, it's pretty tough. You don't have to do that same thing about putting it in water, but often kale will have some bugs. So water's a good way to wash the bugs off. You can see some here. Now, I'm just going to cut that off and feed that directly to the chickens. I'm not that into kale anyway, but if I was worried about it, you could wash off those bugs. This one doesn't have any bugs, or it only has one bug. So I'm going to put that in the water. This one, no bugs. Put that in the water. You know, if you could pick a carrot, slice it up, you've got pretty darn close to a salad. Maybe you got some tomatoes. Boom, that's definitely salad time. Oh look, and we also have some broccoli. This was a big broccoli that we cut a while ago. Now it's little baby broccolinis. So the big broccoli is gone from the center and there's little baby broccolis. That's probably got to get harvested by tomorrow. You can see our Napa cabbage is definitely being eaten by caterpillars, but it's starting to make a dense head on the inside. That'll go another 2-3 weeks. In that case, you don't harvest individual leaves. For the Napa, I'm going to take that entire head and I'm going to spin it to snap it off the roots. I'll try to clean that really well and I'll chop that up kind of fine, you know, like shredded cabbage for tacos. I'll put that in soup. All right, what else, Luna? Is there anything else we should show them? No?
No. If you want to show them your face, that might be good.
No, they don't like my face. Nobody likes my face.
Yeah. Oh, we could show them the chickens or the dog.
We could show them the chickens or the dog. I don't know. I don't think they care about that. Ooh, but I want to show them something else. Thanks, Lana. You did great. Thank you. Here's something else I wanted to show you guys, by the way. This bok choy has gone too long. I had a few extra, so I planted them all. And when they start to bolt, it changes the flavor of the leaves. So these are basically just chicken food. Speaking of chickens. Here's my second lettuce garden. I planted this one later. This is not quite ready to harvest. This is the stage that most of your lettuce is in when I see your pictures on Instagram.